What's up, guys? This is Hit You Good, your favorite all-American freedom-loving gamer, and today we're going to be talking about the greatest Pride Month to date. At least for me, anyways. This has been an absolute hoot of a month, to put it lightly. And you know, every June, you know, we get to a point where we're just kind of hunkering down. Here it comes. Here comes the corporate shills with their ESG scores and their ever-present need to be, you know, validated. And this year didn't turn out quite that way. As a matter of fact, we saw so many L's for the LGBTQWXYRZ community, and I mean, I was just astounded, you know. And I think a lot of that kicked off with Bud Light. But before we get into that, I am sorry I do not have a camera pointed at me today. I'm in the midst of transitioning my computer setup to a different room. I'm hoping the audio sounds good on this, but other than that, if you do want to support me on Rumble, I am also over there. That's where I stream. That's away from YouTube censorship. So if you do want to support, you know, your favorite all-American freedom-loving gamer over there, please drop a like and a subscription over at Rumble as well here. It helps me grow as well and get my message out. But let's get back into Pride Month, you know. Now, I think everything started off, I'm going to go through this kind of in chronological order just to list out all of the freaking wins that Patriots had against the Rainbow Jihadists. You know, it's been absolutely just devastating for them. And I know the month leading up to Pride Month, in May, you know, we saw Bud Light stuff start tanking because of, you know, what happened with Dylan Mulvaney. For the whole month, that was kind of on the radar, and I don't think that any of this would have been possible without Bud Light, because that was just a perfect storm. You've got a very large customer base that is largely blue collar, you know, white working Americans, and they drink a lot of Bud Light. Like, that's, you know, that's just the drink that you go for. That's the beer that you go for. And when Bud Light came out with the Dylan Mulvaney partnership, that's what kind of, it was the first, fortunately, it was a large domino that was easy to be pushed, which pushed the rest of these dominoes down the exact same way. So I thought that, you know, Bud Light might just be a fluke. And then Target came out with their tuckable swimsuits, and I was like, yeah, right, there's no way that, you know, white women are going to stop shopping at Target, but they did. It was amazing, and I think it was because, you know, you've got that invigoration of, you know, the right saying, hey, boycotts do work. We do have buying power in the market. So all this stuff, you know, leading up to, you know, Pride Month was just detrimental for, you know, for the woke. So on June 1st, you know, the Navy initially put up flags and Pride logos. They put them on their bases. They put up Pride logos in social media. They took those down. First day, I'm like, wow, like, this is crazy. At the same day, I think Xbox ended up trading their rainbow logo for a Diablo logo. I thought it was, you know, very reminiscent of Sodom and Gomorrah, but, you know, I don't know if they're trying to draw any conclusions from that. June 2nd, second day of Pride Month, MLB, the Major League Baseball, removes pride flags from their logos. June 3rd, Elon Musk fires the entire team of employees who censored What is a Woman, the documentary, on Twitter. And if you remember, Matt Walsh tried to partner with Twitter, and they finally came back and said, nope, you got to remove this part, this part, and this part. And they said, no, we're not going to do it. They talked to Elon about it, and Elon ended up firing the whole team that did that mess and pinned the movie to the top of his profile for millions of people to see. On June 4th, high school coach and his daughter win a legal battle after being sued for misgendering of a boy in her locker room. That's a good win. Legal wins are very good because they set precedents. June 5th, What is a Woman ends up trending as #1 stream on Rotten Tomatoes. The #1 stream documentary. That's amazing. On June 7th, first week of June, the first week of Pride Month, and it's not going very well at all. Bud Light no longer holds the spot as America's top beer, being surpassed by Modelo. So basically, within, what, a month and a week, 5 or 6 weeks, they took decades of marketing and completely erased it, destroyed it, with up to a 29% sales decline. To this day, we still keep seeing 27 to 29% sales decline over every month from last year due to one woke marketing executive. If sales don't increase by the end of June, which we're basically here, and they haven't, Bud Light is going to start ceding shelf space in stores to other better selling brands, which takes away that opportunity. You know, they no longer are going to be able to sell more because there's not as much on the shelf. It's harder to sell more when you got less on the shelf. June 9th, 2 days later, Budweiser Memorial Weekend sales report 60% loss in sales. Like, that is so devastating. At this point, I remember they're getting rid of it for free. Like, they're basically, it's like $1.17 for, you know, a 24 pack. It's amazing, after the mail-in rebate, of course. And then June 10th, something interesting sparks up. There's a big fight out in California over should Pride Month be celebrated among elementary school kids. So, you know, the indoctrination just continues to get worse. And big time streamer Nick Merckx, Call of Duty streamer, Apex Legends, all this stuff. He tells Twitter and LGBT community to leave kids alone. All he did was say they need to leave kids alone. That's the real deal. That's the focus. And after that, immediately after, Activision ends up pulling Nick Merckx's skin. Now, if you're not in gaming, this is going to sound weird, but skins are, you know, things that you put on characters in video games so you look different. But they had one in the store where you could look like Nick Merckx and play as Nick Merckx in the video game, which is a huge honor. That's like the height of your gaming career, if you get featured in Call of Duty as a playable skin. Well, they ended up taking it down. Within the next day or two, Activision turns off comments on Twitter, and to this day, 20 days later, they are still getting ratioed, still mercilessly getting attacked on all forms of social media. But they turned off, that's when they started turning off some comments. Tim the Tapman finally comes around and backs up his buddy Nick Merckx, although it's more kind of a, hey, he's my buddy, so I'm going to be with him, not really because he thinks that little kids shouldn't be diddled. Yeah. But Dr. Disrespect came out and immediately, without question, like, he hears about it, he comes out, he uninstalls the game permanently, says, no, the only way that you are going to get me to reinstall this game, to consider playing this game again, is to reinstate Nick Merckx's skin and give him a public apology. And I doubt that, and that's not going to happen. So now you've got 3 big-time streamers who are no longer streaming your game, right? So Nick Merckx isn't doing it, Dr. Disrespect isn't doing it. I need to check in on Tim the Tapman. I'm not sure if he's been playing at all. The next day, Target stock bottoms out at $126 per share, down from a $180 high in February. June 13th, Starbucks will now remove all pride decorations across all stores in the U.S. Now, that was a massive meltdown over that. Pretty big deal considering how woke Starbucks has been in the past.
No matter how quick I hit that thing.
And then I think within the next day or so, multiple Target stores are forced to shut down after LGBT, we'll call them terrors, ransack stores and even call in bomb threats. Now, that's not something that we like to see. It's not something that we are hopeful for at all. But it kind of, you know, is a stark reminder. This is showing Target, you know, hey, these are the people that you sided with, and this is how vicious they can be. It really just pulled the mask off. And even though we don't like for things to happen, we don't advocate for those things to happen, that's what happens when you go against the Rainbow Jihad. On the 14th, in response to being told to wear rainbow colors to school, there was a bunch of middle school kids in Massachusetts who wore, guess it, red, white, and blue, tore down the pride decorations in their halls, and declared their pronouns were USA in defiance to woke public school teachers. Of course, the school teachers were all in an uproar over this, talking about how hateful it was, and, you know, just absolute nonsense. But it's really neat to see that culture coming back. Now, after we got about halfway through Pride Month, everybody was kind of over it, but there were still some really big takeaways here. You look at the Dodgers, you know, when they hosted that, I mean, disgusting anti-Catholic, anti-Christian display of a nun at one of their parties, one of their hype games, dancing on a cross, but as a pole dancer, like, just absolutely disgusting. And the next game they have, there's nobody's in the stands, and there's thousands outside boycotting them. By June the 19th, this is where we go back to Nick Merckx. He returns to streaming. He rakes in 17,000 subs in one stream. And then he comes out and says, no, I'm not going to apologize. He doubles down on it. You know, he says, I'm sorry if, you know, you got caught in the crossfire on this. That wasn't the intention, but, you know, this is how it's going to be. And Nick Merckx really handled the canceling very well, and he handled it the way you're supposed to. The next day, whenever he went on stream, again, he gets an additional 5,000 subs the next day. Now, that's, when I say subs, those are not followers. Those are paying members. He rakes in and makes bank off of being canceled. I know I was one of the people that ended up subscribing to him. On June the 23rd, the NHL does away with Pride Night uniforms for the next season. That's a pretty big deal, you know. June 27th, Bud Light officially fires executives involved with Dylan Mulvaney marketing ploy. And finally, to wrap everything up, June 29th, on close to the anniversary of Roe versus Wade being struck down, the Supreme Court strikes down affirmative action for woke colleges, meaning that no, you cannot use skin color as a to determine who you're going to allow in your school. It has to be performance based. And I really do see this, you know, all this entire list of things means a lot for our society, you know, and I do think it means something for gaming as well. I'm thinking about doing a video about that, in that hopefully gaming is going to be better. Whenever we start getting rid of this wokeness and get back to real story-driven narratives, whenever we stop handling minority characters with, you know, velvet gloves, whenever we start making real games again, whenever we start hiring the best people for the job instead of meeting a diversity quota, that is going to make games better. And that's why I care about this, because wokeism has seeped into the gaming industry. It's something I'm passionate about, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, what the future holds, because it really does seem, guys, like we're winning the culture war here. It's like people have had enough. They're not going to take it anymore. They will move where their spending money is, whether that be from Target, whether it be from Bud Light, Disney Plus, Netflix, all these woke corporations that hate us, our families, and everything we stand for. We finally, you know, seem to put our foot down. You know, if a business is being boycotted at large, and maybe it's a business that you weren't using anyways, you know, I see a lot of people say, oh, I haven't shopped at Target in 5 years, 10 years. Well, guess what? You're not really making that big of a difference. Find something. Find some company that you are a regular patron of and make that sacrifice and let them know. Send in, you know, to customer support saying, hey, this is why I'm no longer supporting you. But anyways, guys, thank y'all so much for listening to this. I hope that it is a good start to your day. We're at the end of June here, and this has been the best Pride Month ever. It really has. And hopefully, you know, that brings a little bit of a pep in your step, gives you a little bit of optimism for the future. Anyways, guys, thank y'all so much for taking the time to listen to this. Y'all have a blessed day. Happy gaming. Get your good out.